Hey, so the prompt for this story is, do I have a nemesis, either current or past? And I don't know if I actually have a nemesis per se, but I have a few like funny things along these lines. One is I previously, and this is getting on like 20 years ago, had a pretty big enemy for a little bit. So without using names, I was in what I now would know to be a bad business partnership. There were about three or four of us, and we all sort of decided to do a business together. It had some moderate success, but the problem was that there was one partner that was really behind the scenes and doing some back office stuff and things like that, and then two of us, and eventually three of us, that were out in the field doing the actual work, making the money, bringing all that back, doing the sales, doing the hard work and stuff like that. And this was a seasonal business, so we were sort of like out there for many days straight, for the entire summer, right? Like April through October, November. It was a lot of work, and then we had time off between, let's call it November and March. And there was some travel involved, so we had to go to different parts of the country in North America, essentially, with this business. And so it started off okay. I mean, we really didn't need any funding. We had some know-how. We got some things done. The first, summer was fine. Like, we broke even. We made money. We paid ourselves a little bit. Um, and then as the business grew a bit, uh, myself and the other operating partner that was, in the field actually doing things, we went to different locations. I went to Canada, he was in Cincinnati, and then we brought on a third operating partner who was in Alabama or Arkansas, one of them. I think it was Alabama, but don't hold me to that. So, anyways, after that year, kind of being on my own, by myself in Canada, I was like, look, this business doesn't have a future. It doesn't have a future for me. I shouldn't be doing this. I should do something else with my life. I was approaching, I was thinking I was like 25 years old, but I was closer to like 20, probably 27, I bet. I was like, all right, I've been doing this for 3 years, 3 summers, making a little money like a job, but I could just go get a job for this amount of money. And it was stressful physically. It was stressful. I was dating somebody that was stressful. I was moving to Canada. That was like super, super stressful for a lot of reasons. And I pretty much decided to quit, right? I did decide to quit. And I did go about it the wrong way, but it also was not, the partnership wasn't set up correctly, and so it was going to be a mess no matter what when I quit. So, anyways, I had the bank account in Canada. I had done everything to set up that business, and that account made more money than the other accounts. And so there's like a large chunk of money sitting in Canada. And I did not go about it the best way, but I'm like, hey, I'm quitting. I'll take my, cut out of the Canadian money and let's just kind of like break up. And it was not handled well, and bad. And for a few weeks, and there was like legal fighting and threatening and things like that. And for a few weeks, I remember being so mad that I was walking through a restaurant, and I was like sure that my nemesis, my enemy, was in the restaurant, and I was going to see him, and we were going to fight. And this is someone like lived totally across town. I would never bump into him at a restaurant, but it was just like so top of mind. And when you're like 27 or whatever age it is, it's hard to kind of see outside of what's going on. So that was kind of a bad business deal, situation. And yeah, pretty big enemy, pretty big nemesis for like a year or two. I do remember, and this would have been probably 2013 or 14 then, maybe 2000. Yeah, I don't know. Let's call it 2013 or something. Um, I had been carrying around a bunch of papers, like printouts of email, for a long time because it's like, all right, well, if I ever need all this as evidence for some lawsuit or some BS, whatever, if this other person, gets vindictive and wants to open up, a can of worms, just annoyance, and sue me, I want to have all these papers. And I was like, all right, now it's like it's been like 8 years or 10 years. I wonder if the statute of limitations is up on this. And looked, and there was like, no, it's 15 years. So I had to carry around this like literally like a bag of email printouts and papers for 15 years. I think it's gone now. I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, so that's one. The other one's much more funny. Uh, in New York, and I'm not going to mention any names here, but I used to look different. I didn't have a beard. I had a different haircut, and my ex-wife had a friend that sort of looked like me a little, but he's like a real estate developer and nice enough guy. It was good to be friends with him, but he is very cutthroat business. A lot of like questionable decisions and things like that, and funny. So I always referenced him as my evil twin because we sort of looked alike, but he's like, yes, a real estate developer in New York, kind of maniacal, and I would be very wary about getting into business with him. Although personally, nice enough guy and fun. There were some on the line things and some funny incidents. But I wouldn't call him a nemesis, but the joke was he's my evil twin. And I still follow him on socials, and it's pretty funny. So that's the story I have about having a nemesis.